Good luck on those.
Got from your left to your right, Senior Lasia Clarendon, Brittany Boyd, Hector Lindsay Gottlieb, and Michaela Lyles. California takes on Louisville Sunday at 3:30 Pacific time on ESPN in the National Semifinal game. We'll open up with a opening statement by Coach, then allow questions.
Well, thanks everyone for being here. We're just so thrilled and excited to be heading to New Orleans. You know, I've said that there was no doubt in my mind that this team was capable of this, and yet it's still been better than our wildest dreams, experiencing all of it. I woke up this morning and just thought, wow, I get to go to practice today, you know, and be with this team for longer than, you know, almost any other team in the country. Very excited to be representing the West Coast and the University of California and bringing these amazing young women to New Orleans, and we're just, you know, getting ready to go.
Lasia, when Lindsay arrived, I guess it's been about 2 Aprils ago now, she talked about carrying on what a good thing that was started here and going to Final Fours. And did you envision that this could happen in a matter of 2 years with her leading this program?
Not really. Not to say anything against Lindsay, but we were just struggling so bad. I think that we just wanted something to believe in, and I think that's what's awesome about Lindsay. She came in and she's just like, look, follow me. I'll lead the way. Just come to practice. Just work hard, run fast. Just bring energy. Just be yourselves, and like I'll worry about the rest, and I'll lead you. And that's what she's done. And look where we are now. So I don't think I imagined it, but with a little belief, you can end up a long way.
What was it about? I mean, a lot of coaches say that, but what is it about? And after she said it, what is it that she did?
That's a good question. I think she's a really great motivator. And she really, first of all, basketball-wise, she knows her stuff. Like, I think better than a lot of coaches. She watches film on every single scout. Like, I can't believe, like, every coach has a scout, but Lindsay knows their scout just as much as they do. And then she came in and motivated us, and I think having every player healthy, getting good brackets, like, things just fall into place. Charmin said a quote the other day that good teams get lucky, like, good programs get lucky, and we just work hard, and she really came in and motivated us, and she didn't just say I'll lead the way and then came out and said, all right, what do you guys want to do? We're practicing it. She came out and said, this is what we're running, do it, run fast, work hard, and just really led by example.
When did you first realize that this team had something special, any three of you, you know, with one that was different, different classes?
I think when we realized it in a sense with each other, like when we had the coaching change, kind of how we banded together and really stayed strong and like we love each other. This could be something awesome. We don't know what our coaching change is going to be, but then having her come in, definitely winning the conference title, being like, okay, like this could be something awesome. Being a number 2 seed, it's just been small little spurts along the way. Even playing against Duke, just being nationally ranked, like you just little spurts along the way that we realized like, okay, we can do this. We can be big time, and just kept believing.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
I'm wondering that you're, beyond wanting to win, of course, and play well, going to one of America's fun cities. How much fun are you going to let these players have after earning their way to the Final Four? I mean, are there going to be things they can do and see the town and get out and, other than bouncing a ball and hearing the squeak of sneakers on the court?
I think the thing that's so neat is that we can continue to do what my and our philosophy has been all along, which is, of course, let them enjoy the experience and the moment and still focus on the task at hand. I think, you know, if I said, hey, we're going to go to New Orleans, I'm going to lock you in a room and just show up for the game, that wouldn't be how we do things anyway. I've been a big believer all along that college athletes should enjoy the experience. Does that mean they love every sprint or every practice or every drill? No, but I want them to feel like they're doing something that they're a part of a special thing all the time. So yeah, we're going to go to New Orleans and they're going to soak up every piece of it that they've earned, and that's not going to take away from our ability to focus. And I think that's actually a bonus for us because that's how we do it all the time anyway.
Are you nervous?
Me?
Yeah.
Nervous? Not at all. I mean, there's different emotions with this whole thing. You know, there's been butterflies for a long time, but I don't think I've ever been as settled saying there's not a team in the country I'd rather be bringing, you know, to the biggest stage.
So there's a lot of faith among all of you. How would you define or describe the faith that you all have in each other? How does that manifest?
I'll start and I'll let them speak that too. Going back to your question of, you guys asked, well, what did Lindsay do, and how does it change? I'm going to tell you something. They don't give enough credit to themselves. There are players in this locker room that are some of the best in the country, and I think what I did is I asked them to say, make the team and the California in front of your chest the most important thing, and they've done that. The other thing I've given them is I played to their strengths and said, we're good at a lot of things. Let's do that, and let's get better at whatever else we need to. And I've given them, I think, a belief that we're capable of this. If anything, I think it's just that. I feel like it is incredibly tangible, the belief and faith they have in each other. I have never been around a group that genuinely believes we're going to get it done, believes in the person next to them. I mean, Michaela sitting right here, I think, is the personification of that. We have a group that just would do anything for the person next to them and has such a strong bond on and off the court, and it's really, really fun to be around.
Lindsay, I wanted to follow up with what John asked you about being loose, but I mean, this is a stage you guys, none of you have ever experienced, and there are so many demands and probably people coming out of the woodwork wanting a piece of you. How are you going to compartmentalize that, or is nice Lindsay going to finally have to say no to things?
Actually, Gil, my director of ops, said, okay, now when people start coming out of the woodwork for tickets and that, you have to be able to either direct them to me, and I'll say no. I think what I always am with them, I'm very verbal, I'm very upfront, and we're going to talk about what the experience is about to be. And I'm going to say it's everything that we've kind of been handling, just on a much larger stage. And so, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to let you guys enjoy it, but when it's time to focus, just really help us out by being on task with that. So glad that people's families are coming and that there's going to be a media zoo. I like to show off this team to the country. I'm glad that everyone's going to get to see what I see every day, and we're going to just talk about how we handle that and still do what we do. And it's just everything we've been doing on a bigger stage, and I think we'll be okay with that.
Brittany, what's your reaction been like for you because you're from this area?
Yeah, everywhere I go, somebody says something like, congratulations, or you guys are doing so good. So, it feels good, and, it's very, very, very humbling, and I'm just blessed to be in the situation I am.
Lindsay, does it feel to you at all, you're a student of the game, that there's a shift going on here? I mean, there's, at least on your side of the bracket, there's two fresh faces and two young coaches, and you've talked about, what it's like to be across the bench from legends. Does it feel like maybe a new era is starting here a little bit?
Well, I think it's really exciting for women's basketball, no question about it. Like Brittany said, I think we're all very humbled. I know there's a lot of great coaches who never get this opportunity, so I don't take that lightly at all. But I think it's a pretty exciting undercard, so to speak, Cal against Louisville. UConn and Notre Dame are the tried and true. They've been there. I now realize how amazing it is for coaches that get teams in the Final Four 4, 5, 6 years in a row. So I think that's neat. But I also feel like we're going to have a pretty good game in the first game with a lot of exciting players. And there's great basketball around the country, and it feels neat to represent the West Coast with 3 Big East teams. I think it feels good to kind of be in that underdog game. And I do think it speaks to that there is a more depth of talent now. There's more good teams around the country, and the fact that us and Louisville broke into the Final Four, I think, is going to be good for the game.
You guys won the NIT a couple years ago, and how do you feel like that'll help you with this experience?
Well, I wasn't here for that. It's really the seniors who went through that the most, and I think what the seniors have been through over the course of their 4 years has been really important for us. I think we have a really good balance in the team of Leja, Talia, Eliza, and Tiara kind of having been through sort of every end of it, and that mixes really well with Brittany and Rashawn and Justine, who all they know is winning, and so it's a neat kind of balance. I think the seniors do a really good job of drawing on those experiences in how they are now and how they handle everything, but I think this team is in the moment about this group. I've said before, I think we thrive on the big stage. I don't think it's going to worry us. I just think we're going to have to handle bigger lights and more people and do what we do.
Brittany, I'd like to ask you, except for one player on this team, you're all Californians, and the only team from the West Coast involved in the Final Four. How does that make you feel? Is there a sense of pride that you want to do something, prove something, that there is some hoops played on the West Coast?
Yeah, but then also just playing for my teammates and the University of California first, and because without University of California, we wouldn't be here. So just playing for them, and also, representing for the West Coast, and I guess we are the only West Coast team that is going to be playing, so just representing for everybody, and just women's basketball, period.
Yeah, speaking of women's basketball, okay, men all they have dreams of going on to the NBA. But it's entirely possible that for some of you, this could be your last big game, right? I mean, it's the last time you step on the court in front of a big crowd. Is that true?
You mean for the seniors?
Yeah.
I think some of our seniors will have a chance to play professionally, and they will. But I do think in women's basketball there's a sense of nothing's better than college. And I think more so they think about playing with this team and this group. And this is our last weekend with this group, and we're going to make the most of it. But I don't think they necessarily think of it as basketball being over.
Last weekend, that's an interesting phrase. You want to elaborate on that?
I'm going to approach this with these guys like we have all year, that because of the Pac-12 schedule, we go into weekend, situations where you play one game, day off, next game. And like I've said to them since we started the tournament, it's 3 2-game tournaments, and we've tried to win each one, and we've done that successfully for the first 2, and that's what I'm going to say. It's another one like that, and we're still playing on the last one, and, let's make this last as long as we can.
Are you nervous?
Me?
Yeah.
Again, excited, butterflies. I think some healthy nerves, sure. I'm human, but it's more just like a gratitude and an excitement.
Leja, as a senior, Notre Dame has a few players who've been here a couple of times. Connecticut, probably. This is your one and only time to get this opportunity. How is that influencing maybe how you think about this weekend and what you want to do and what you want it to be?
I don't think of any differently. Like I said, I mentioned all year long, so humbled by this experience, just to be here. And some people have gotten it a lot of times, and so I think we're like, we get to go somewhere and we get sized for more rings and we get more gear, and like we're just so humbled, and like we're gonna cheer and we're gonna clap for everything we get, and we're just gonna be who we are. And people keep saying, we've never been here, we've never done that. I think we are beyond battle tested. I think we were down that entire game, down 10 with 6 minutes left. So that's fair to say other people have more experiences, the lights are brighter, there's more people. Like Lindsay said, I think this team thrives in those kind of games, in that kind of position. And we're going to stay true to who we are. We've had fun playing with each other, had fun in warm-ups all year, and like we're just going to stay who we are and have fun, and we want to win this next 2 games this weekend. So.
How do you guys think you match up with Louisville? What are your concerns about what they bring defensively or offensively?
Well, I'll just start with that quickly. I mean, it's hard to argue, that they're the hottest team in the country right now. They scored 82 points and beat Baylor, and then they followed that up with, 85 against Tennessee. So they're clearly an exciting offensive team. They like to push it in transition. They have some dynamic guard play with Shoni Schimmel. They're hot. I think it's going to be a really exciting game. I think you put a lot of fun players on the court at one time. We're going to have a challenge to slow them down. And then they're known for kind of mixing up their defenses. So we're going to have to make sure that we're sharp with what we're running and attacking the way that we want to and trying to take control of the game. But I think it'll be a great game.
Michaela, some games you don't get a whole lot of playing time, and I've seen some of the games. You appear to be among the more emotional players, really at all times, on the sidelines, cheering on your teammates. How do you see your role on this team, both when you're not in the game and when you're in the game?
I look at my role as just kind of doing whatever the team needs. I don't really feel like I have to be doing this, I have to be doing that. Whatever coach wants me to do, whatever the team needs me to do, that's what I do. And if it's being crazy emotional on the bench, then that's what I'm going to be. I mean, I have a lot of passion for this team, and I have a lot of passion for the game, and I love being around these players, so whatever I can do to them is what I do.
And, with Michaela, let me just follow up on that. It's beyond just, like, rah-rah emotion. I've said to a lot of people, she's my soundtrack of the game. During the game, on film, I can hear her. She really understands the scouting report. She's cheering, but she's also saying, watch this screen coming, or get back, or switch on that. It's really neat to hear her basketball IQ is very high, as is the whole team. So it's neat. And I think it's pretty remarkable to be able to maybe not play 2 or 3 games in a row and come off the bench in a game like Louisville when a season is on the line and knock down big shots. So that's pretty exceptional.
Michaela, speaking of music and soundtrack, the artist from the bottom of the video is featured very prominently in it. Can you talk a little about not just the video, but the journey of what it's been like, as a junior to come in, have that 1 year, and then Lizzie come in, talk about the journey for you?
Definitely. I mean, the video was more or less our team just having a really good time and just being who we are. But I think the journey itself is, like we've been saying the whole time here, it's very humbling. You know, to be in a position as a freshman and, you know, not be the greatest team out there or not, you know, be competing with the best of the best and kind of just having to work yourself up. I mean, I guess essentially from the bottom. It's very humbling and it teaches you a lot of just about character and about the type of people you have around you on a daily basis. You really get to see what type of people there are through, you know, struggles and failures and, you know, upsets and things. So, I mean, we're battle tested, like they said. We're just a humble group that likes to work hard.
Go ahead. You go. Yep.
Following up on that and some of what Lindsay and Maja said about this team and playing for each other, what does it say about the unselfishness of this group? You have so many playmakers who will do whatever they can to help the team.
I mean, it's the epitome of a team sport right there. You can't be a successful team without having everybody be just selfless and want to give everything they have to each other. And I think that's what this team is. You know, we have everybody that embraces what they are to this team in the best possible way that they can. And the selflessness is just, it thrives through us. And we just love each other. We love being around each other. We love doing everything for each other. And I think everybody sees that when we play and just are around one another.
Brittany, Lindsay, you referenced the guard play in this game. You'll probably be backed up against Shoni Schimel, is that right? That's what's your reaction to facing a player like that, and how do you think she's her assessment of you is?
I'm really just focused on my team and doing what I can so we can get the win. I'm not really focused on, you know, her, and, I know she's a great player, and but I'm not really, focused. I don't really get into the hype of that. That's not my main focus. My main focus is to go to New Orleans, get the win, and move on to the next game.
Lindsay, I know all your players are very competitive, but I wonder if you could speak about Brittany in particular. How much does she hate losing? And do you have any stories that might kind of personalize?
The kid is a baller. She's a competitor. I think she was born to be on a basketball court and, do some other things too. But it's really fun to coach someone like that who just is at her best when the big lights are on. And I think, if anything, we've talked to her about her standards are so high. She doesn't like to make a mistake. She wants to be perfect, as I think all of our players do. But it's almost being like, hey, sometimes you got to shake off a mistake and make the next play, because she has an ability to impact the game in so many different ways. But don't think you get to this point unless you have someone who has the ball in their hands all the time, who's a true competitor, and she'll just make plays sometimes where just coming from her natural ability and I think desire to win, and I also think how much she hates losing as well factors in.
And when you came on board, one of your first jobs was keeping her on board. Can you tell me what that conversation was like?
It was the first phone call. I think it was helpful that I had known Brittany a little bit, from when she came here to camp as a little 7th, 8th grader, and also just from recruiting some of her teammates and when I was at Santa Barbara. So there was a familiarity, which I think is helpful. When there's no coach, I think there's a fear of, oh my gosh, who's it going to be? But the main priority was to get Brittany and her family in the office, and it was neat. I think her dad asked a little bit like what I would run and how I'd use Brittany, and her mom asked all about academics and do I care about school, and it was just getting a comfort zone with the family. And Brittany belongs playing at Cal in front of her hometown fans, and it was making sure that they felt as comfortable with me as a person and what we're going to do basketball-wise as they had with the previous staff. So obviously that was a priority for me.
Coach, I want to ask these two right here. When you go to the Final Four, three of us have been to the last Final Fours last 5 covering them, and it's always seemed like that, yes, of course you want to win, you believe you can win, but the fact is you can't get over UConn, you can't get over Baylor, blah, blah, blah. Do you guys genuinely really think if you could get to that championship game that you could bring home the crown first?
Yes. I think why not? I think Baylor was one of the huge monsters kind of thing, and we played Notre Dame last year. I think we would love to have a rematch with them. Not overlooking Connecticut, not overlooking Louisville, but that's been our thing this whole year. Why not us? Why not the Cal Bears? There's all this hype around it. We've made it this far. We're not backing down to anyone now. We're not going to be, we made it to the Final Four. That was nice and all. We get the festivities and our gifts and we're ready to go home. No, we came here to win. That's what we wanted the entire year. So I say yes. Why not?
Is the why not new? Have you been saying that all year, or is that just me?
I think there's an unbelievable combination with this team of confidence and humility. I mean, I think that's one of the narratives of it, is that this is a group that really believes, and why shouldn't they? You know, we have so many really good pieces. I think we've tried to put them in situations all year where they believe that they can compete and beat, the top programs. But there's also that humble nature to say we are happy to be here. We're grateful to be here. We're going to sure as heck learn as much as we can about another team with a scouting report and we have to take care of business. But the confidence that if we do those things and if we play well with what we do, that we can beat anybody. And I think they've had that all year. But it also is a process. I told them after we lost at Duke, we scheduled this game for a reason, so that we understand what it takes to beat a team like that. I thought that the win at Stanford was a seminal moment because I think it was Brittany actually who said in the press conference after that game, there is a difference in thinking you can and maybe believing you can and knowing that you can. So we have been in situations where we've had to beat these giants of women's college basketball, and I think now they feel like, why not us?
Michaela, in this kind of the same vein though, when Baylor was eliminated, did that kind of affect your mentality? The heavy favorite's gone. Anybody has a shot now, or more of a shot maybe than people once believed.
I think it affected us on just historical women's basketball level that, Baylor was this big monster and a number 5 seed knocked them off. I think on that level, yes, it was just like a celebration for women's basketball. Like the matchups are different now. There's an excitement around it in a different way. And I think for us, we're always focused on the next game. So with that being said, our focus was on Georgia. I'm not going to lie. We said after that game finished, Georgia, 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 Georgia. We ran through the bus, Georgia to everybody in the bus. That was our focus at that point in time.
Coach, I think there was just a follow-up on that. Like Michaela said, we have basketball fans, and so I think everyone was kind of like, wow, did this just happen? Before we even kind of realized that Baylor was on our side of the bracket. You know what I mean? It was more about the basketball thing. And because Stanford had lost the night before, and all we said was LSU, LSU, LSU. We just didn't want to think about anything else, and this team has been great about doing that.
Coach, I don't want to bother your players with this question, but your thoughts about Coach Rice at Rutgers and what happened there on the court with his players?
I don't want to comment specifically other than to say that I feel like I have a wonderful opportunity as a basketball coach and a platform to affect the lives of these student athletes in a positive way. And that's the most important thing, and we should all use this gift that we've been given to be positive in these players' lives, and I hope that we can celebrate the coaches who do that.
How do you approach it? I mean, is it all positive? Is it all reinforcement? Is it all like that, or is there punishment involved? I mean, how do you coach?
I think if you start with a trust and a foundation that they know I love them and care about them as people, then you build up the ability to say, hey, we needed to be better on that play. I mean, obviously, I have to be critical at times, and I have to tell us when we're not good enough. But if they believe that I know that they're capable of things beyond what they probably even know on and off the court, and that they matter to me as people, then sure, I think they're okay for me to hear, sprint back faster and things like that. But absolutely, the care for the student athlete has to be the number one thing, and I feel like, these kids know that even when I'm mad at them.
I mean, you do yell, you get in their face, you try to fire them up and things like that, but there is a line you don't cross.
Yeah, I would say my style is more on the positive side anyway. I believe female student athletes respond better to the positive, so I wouldn't say I'm a screamer. Generally, I think my style is more the positive and hopefully the motivational. But yeah, there were times. I mean, I got on them, at the halftime of the Georgia game, because I thought that we weren't attacking the zone like I knew we knew how. There have been other times where we've come in the locker room losing, and I've said, we got this, So you try to have the pulse of the team and find out what they need at that moment. But sure, it is absolutely always rooted in a place of respect for them as human beings and compassion and trying to do the right thing. And yeah, there's no place for anything that's, clearly over a line.
Lindsay, can you talk, going back to Brittany, can you talk about your decision to start her at point guard basically from day one, knowing it's a position that takes some getting used to at the college level and just all that?
Absolutely. I think it was really clear to me early on that Brittany is special, and similarly is one of those players that can have an impact on the entire team. I mean, it can make Laja's life easier and the post life easier. So, with a freshman point guard, I think made the decision to let her play through and grow through playing experience and game experience. And I was confident to do that because of what Michaela said, that this whole team believes in the team first. So, I had a conversation with Eliza who, started for 2 years, and I said, hey, I gave her the courtesy of saying, let's talk about this, is what I'm thinking. And Eliza was unbelievable. She said, absolutely, whatever you need me to do, and she embraced that role. And I knew, that going with a very exciting, dynamic freshman point guard, there were going to be some times where you say, okay, that's a growth moment, but a lot more times that you see the spectacular. And I'm more wanting to give her that rope and that empowerment to be her, and she has continued to stay with us and try to get better every step of the way. And I think that's been really important in that player-coach relationship.
A couple more.
To the players, what are you looking forward to seeing or doing in New Orleans on the times you do have away from practice? I've heard, Lacey, you can start with you. I've heard you mention beignets.
I have a few times. I just wrote a blog the other day, and I talked a lot about the food. And I actually interviewed a couple of these women, Rashonda, and she said the crawfish, and then I said Michaela, and the beignets, and the culture, and the festivities, from like the mass to just kind of the urban experience. It's a really cool city. Excuse me. So we're excited to be there. Lindsay's going to let us have some fun, because that's what we do, and we're not going to change. So the food is definitely top of our list. One of the things.
Do you have a team dinner thing planned you can share with us, like something special with the team dinner planned?
Yeah, well, there's some things that are definitely going to make a stop at Cafe Du Monde. I feel like now that's primary, right up there with practice, So there's certain things that are kind of scheduled out by the NCAA, and we're looking forward to everything. But yeah, when we do some team dinners, we'll try and take part in some of the culture and the New Orleans specific things. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and like I said, I think that not only is enjoying and experiencing it good for them as student athletes, but I think it helps us to play well, just because that's how we do it, is have fun and focus on the task at hand.
Okay, what can you share about Lindsay? I mean, in terms of coaches and with the women's basketball world watching, not everybody knows her the way your team does. And what made you guys buy into her message 2 years ago?
I think from day one, her conviction and what she was saying was it was believable, and it grabbed you from day one. I mean, like Alicia said earlier, she told us, follow me. I'm going to be your leader, and I'm going to take all of you and embrace everything that you have to offer, and I'm going to attack it in all of its strengths. And she has stuck to her word. I mean, you can't waver from somebody that just shows consistency. And from that point, I think all of our teammates and all of us were just like, you know what, this is our leader. This is who we're following, and we believe strongly that she's going to get us where we need to go. And I mean, it did. When you have everybody buying into that, it's very easy to follow.
Rick, could you touch on that a little bit, and even some maybe stories about Lindsay opening up her home for lip sync nights or whatever some of the things you guys do. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually, we would go to Coach G's house sometimes, and we like play games and watch TV and like we watch like games, and we also like have food catered, and we just just chill, laugh, have a good time.
I mean, is she fun? I mean, she's relatable, right?
I think not only did she, like I said before, set that tone of just like in a basketball aspect, but she opened it up for in a personal level, just family oriented. From day one, she was like, this is a family, and we're going to make this feel like a family. And just by opening up her house constantly, and she'll even during breaks she'll be like, you guys, my house is open if you want to come over and just, have dinner or whatever. And I know a couple of us went last year and did that. And I mean, it's just a family atmosphere, and you get to feel like you're a part of something. And she's made it very adamant that you are a part of this family, and it feels good to be a part of a huge family that, is all chasing one dream.
Okay, I want to touch on that.
Yes.
I was just going to ask you.
And the one of the really great things about Lindsay is that, like she said, her coaching style is to be relatable, so she takes the time to know every player. And some coaches just have it flat one way, like stretch like this, wear uniforms, wear your hair, no tattoos, and she's like, be who you are, I'm going to love you, I'm going to embrace every single one of you. And the thing that I really love about her is she's going to fight for you regardless if you play 2 minutes, if you score 30 points, if you're going to be an All-American, if you're going to be this, if you're going to be that. And that's how Michaela Lyles can sit on the bench and know, I might not play this game, but I know Lindsay's going to fight for my internship. She's going to fight for me just as much as she's going to fight for Laysia to be, you know, on All-American list or be this or that. So I think that's the trust and relationship that she really came in the time to build with us.
Did you warn her before you just...
No, I just did it.
And what was the reaction?
She said it was cool. She liked it.
So,
She's
so for any of the players that want to answer this on the same theme, tell us a story about Lindsay that we don't know.
Oh
gosh. You're all Cal students, so there must be something.
Check your appropriate meter.
Check your appropriate meter?
Yeah. Make sure it's something I would want to share.
Remember, the free speech movement started on this campus. So
Yeah.
we're all free.
I'm trying to think.
Well, I think I did last year. Coach G was gone actually, and me and Laysia put posties all through her office. I grabbed all her posties and stuck them like through her whole office and on her chair, on her computer, like everywhere in her office. And she came back and seen that. I'm not sure if that's a story.
Now that actually is like a Mardi Gras theme. It's like Mardi Gras in my office. They put on the outside.
Yeah. And she has these quotes every day that she gives us before practice, and so we wrote on the sticky note, you know, never lose your sense of humor. So that was the quote that we sticky put in her office, and we left her with that quote.
Each one of them said that?
No, just one. No, on the door.
But then I opened the door and it's like covered in just like this rainbow of sticky notes, and some of them had notes like on my chair, like this is my chair now, and like number. I mean, they had all like written all their numbers were on there somewhere, and it was just totally plastered with these colorful things.
I have one more for you, not mine. You're a junior though, right?
I am, yeah.
So Alicia's a senior. Brittany and Michaela, then what kind of leadership does she bring on the floor that people don't see? Georgia, when you're down and you come back and behind, what does Alicia bring to the team people don't see?
Laysia she's a constant force. I mean, that kid is, you can look at her and she can instantly say, you know, the sky's green, and you'll believe her. I mean, she just, something about her, she just grabs your attention. She makes you believe in the unbelievable. And, you know, for example, when we were down in Georgia, I know talking in the huddles during timeouts and things, you know, I'll say things and I look at Lay and I'll just be like, we're good. We are so good. And she doesn't have to say anything. She just has to, you know, have that look in her face like we're good. And she handles that so well with all the attention, and, you know, her skill set is just, I mean, out of this world to me. I know a lot of us always say to each other, she's one of the most amazing people we've ever played with, just as a player and as a person. And she's the foundation for this team, really. She keeps us all together. She's that glue.
Pretty, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, Laysia, she's like, she works so hard, and just to see that and to play with that only motivates me, but also the team. And just when she butted zero, she got the ball, she finna pull up, and we know it's going in, like in Georgia. And it was just like, it's a good feeling to play with that, and just be surrounded by, you know, somebody like her, and just keeps us motivated. And, you know, she's always telling us stuff, and it's just, it's a good feeling to be around. She's a good roomie too.
Thanks, everyone. We will have a fan event tomorrow, a send-off event. We'll send out more information later this afternoon. It'll be around 10 tomorrow morning.
Is practice open?
First 15 you can get.
What time is that?
About 3:15.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.